Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we have another amazing alternatives to expensive popular products, and all of these are skincare today. So I am so excited. This is probably the best group of products that I have found alternatives for in a very long time. And a couple of these things are pretty new on the market, or they're newly hyped up, and the alternatives are incredible. So I'm gonna save the best for last, so you gotta stick around to the end. If you're new, my name is Penny. I'm a master esthetician, and I'm super excited that you're here. I love to do these affordable alternatives videos, mostly because I truly feel that you do not have to be wealthy to have nice skin. And I believe that there are lots and lots of things on the market that are amazing that are expensive. And then I think that there's a lot of amazing products that are inexpensive. And I think that there's a place for everyone in that range. And I love kind of exposing all of it because I think we're all in this for good skin, right? We're all in this for good skin. So these are really, really fun videos to make. And I hope you will subscribe before you go and join the fam. So let's get into this video. We are gonna start with, with Faded. This is by a brand called Topicals. Now, you probably have seen this one. The cute packaging and everything is definitely eye-grabbing. The deal with this particular product is that it is kind of a gel cream pigment inhibiting product. Now they sell this at Sephora. I think it is $38 and it is 1.7 ounces. The main ingredients in here that are going to help with hyperpigmentation. So if you have brown spots, if you have, age spots, if you have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which means you're left with some dark marks after a trauma to the skin. It could be an acne pimple, it could be a cut, it could be, any of that kind of stuff can sometimes leave behind brown pigment. That is a hyperpigmentation, and pigment inhibitors are very, very helpful in the treatment of age spots, sun damage, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, all of that stuff. So the key ingredients that are in here are niacinamide. This also has tranexamic acid. You guys have heard me talk about that for a long time. It is essentially an alternative to hydroquinone, meaning that it is a pigment inhibiting ingredient that is less irritating and you can use it long term, unlike hydroquinone, which is kind of the gold standard for pigment inhibitors in the medical world as a prescription at 4%. You can get tranexamic acid. It's very, very effective. It's kind of a lightweight gel cream. However, it does kind of dry down and I can sort of feel a film. And when I've tried to use it in the morning, it definitely can pill when it comes in contact with some of my serums, etc. So just be aware of that. This for me would definitely be a PM pigment inhibitor, not an AM pigment inhibitor, just because of the way it interacts with other products. Okay, so the alternative to this one is one I've actually talked about for a long time, and it is the Touch Bright and Clear. Now this is my old bottle that's about 3/4 of the way done, and I have talked about this one. I want to say the first time I talked about this particular product was probably 2 or 2.5 years ago. I absolutely love this product. This has azelaic acid, it has kojic acid, it has tranexamic acid, and then it also has niacinamide in it. It has all the heavy hitters that the Faded does in order to be a pigment inhibitor. Now, I did buy the new packaging, and in this new packaging, it also says azelaic acid, kojic, niacinamide, and tranexamic acid. And when you look at the ingredient deck, you can see that all of those things are in the upper part of the deck. This is a potent pigment inhibitor. Now, it has a very, very similar texture to the Topicals. The one difference is you can see it has a slight pigment to it. However, when you rub it all the way in, that pretty much disappears. It might leave an ever so slight hue, but really it just kind of disappears into your skin. I do find that the Touch it plays well under makeup. I'm able to use that at night and in the morning. This one is 2 ounces and it is about $26. So you get a little bit more and you pay $12 less. Now, the thing about pigment inhibitors is that you need to be using them diligently AM and PM consistently in order to see a reduction in that hyperpigmentation. So age spots, sunspots, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, all of that stuff. You have to be consistent with your pigment inhibitor, and you need to use it for a long time. You need to use it long term. So the truth is you're probably going to go through more than 1 tube of it. So clearly, if you can get more for less money, you're more likely to repurchase it, continue to be consistent with it, and get results out of it in the long run. So this to me is an absolutely fantastic alternative to this. Next, we're going to talk about a little bit of Revision. Now, this is a really popular medical grade brand that is fantastic. Revision does vitamin C so well. They also have a tinted SPF that's kind of like almost like a BBCC cream. That one is absolutely beautiful. I think it's called IntelliShade. Gorgeous, but expensive. I think that SPF is like $75. Recently, relatively recently, they came out with this Revox line relaxer. Now, this puppy is expensive, you guys. This is, I want to say it's 0.68 ounces. Comes with this little applicator here. So you depress this and a little bit comes out. And it is, I want to say $145 for that 0.68 ounces. So it is spendy. What you get in here is a serum that is packed with peptides. Namely, it has some neuropeptides in it that are supposed to help with muscle movement. So the way that they're marketing this is that it's a really good hand in hand with your like Botox injections. So you could get your Botox injections, and then anywhere you did that, you would apply this daily, AM and PM. And supposedly it's supposed to help your Botox last longer. Now, the main one in here, in my opinion, is going to be the argireline. Now, that is acetyl hexapeptide. I think it's acetyl hexapeptide 8. I will double check and I'll put that on the screen. I want to make sure I'm saying the right peptide. That is argireline. Now, that's probably the main ingredient that's going to be helping with the neuromodulation. That's going to be kind of helping out your Botox. Now, of course, they also say that you can use this without ever having Botox in lieu of getting Botox. Clearly, your results are going to be far more subtle than if you got Botox. Like, that's not even the right, like, it's going to, there's really no comparison, but they're saying that you could get a little like an inkling of what you could get if you got Botox if you use this alone, but really it's a fantastic complement to your Botox, and you'll get more life out of your Botox, helping you to get more time in between your treatments. Okay, so again, this one's pretty expensive. I did not go buy the alternative to this because I really just didn't need another product just like this. I wanted to tell you about it though. It is by Peter Thomas Roth, and it is $125 for 1 ounce. Still crazy expensive. However, if you are somebody who uses this, you may want to look into that Peter Thomas Roth product, because the main ingredients in that one, the neuropeptides that are in there, are also in here, along with a few other common peptide ingredients. That one has 21 peptides, and I think that they say like 8 of them are neuropeptides. Now, that one you get 1/3 of an ounce more, and it is $20 less. So on the screen, I put the comparison up there, and I wanted you to see the cost per ounce. The Peter Thomas Roth is $125 an ounce, which I realize is still really, really expensive. And this one is $193 an ounce. So if you are somebody who is already interested in this, or you've tried this, you may want to just consider the Peter Thomas Roth product, because it has similar ingredients and definitely similar main star ingredients as far as what they're advertising this for. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, because I thought, hey, you could probably go through this pretty fast. If you're using it morning and night, you probably actually blow through this pretty fast. So getting a little bit more product, 1/3 of an ounce more, or it might be, anyway, you get more for less money. So it's definitely an alternative. I'm not going to call it an affordable alternative, but that's just an alternative that is less expensive. Let me know if you've tried this out and what you think of it. I'm curious what your reviews are about this if you have tried it, and I would love to know if you've tried it and you've gone through a whole thing of it, if you had any results from it, and would you repurchase it? I'm really, really curious about that. Okay, next we're gonna talk about one more revision thing that you may have seen a lot of recently, and this is their Youthful Lip Replenisher. Now, when I bought all this stuff myself, by the way. When I got this in the mail, I was kind of surprised by how thick and sticky it is. It's almost like, which, I mean, I guess that's, you know, whatever. You know what it reminds me of, you guys? It reminds me, the texture reminds me so much of old school MAC lip gloss. If you used MAC lip gloss, and it might still be like this, I just haven't bought it in so long, the clear one, and it was so thick and like, I mean, it gave you like the ultimate shiny, literally lip glass because it was so thick and a little bit sticky, and it lasted forever because it was just like a layer of it. It just stuck to your lips. That's exactly what this feels like. It is this massively thick product. Okay, it has a bunch of good ingredients in it, but mainly it has shea butter, and then it has some occlusive ingredients that are going to help to give it kind of that thickness and help to lock in moisture in your lips. I mean, that's really what it's doing. It is, you could put this on at night. It's not something that I would wear during the day because it's so thick and kind of sticky, but I could see where you could put it on at night and it's almost like a lip mask that you would wear overnight. And I do indeed wake up the next day and I feel like my lips look better and everything. I think the main thing that's happening there though is that it's just occlusive. It's helping trap water in so that your lips can just repair themselves and look better. They're more hydrated and they just look better. It does have some peptides in there, which are valuable. I just don't know how much they're really doing anything. I think the main thing is that thickness and that trapping water and kind of letting your lips heal themselves overnight. That's kind of what I think. So I went on the hunt to find an affordable alternative. The one that is an amazing alternative is going to be the one from Indeed Labs. Now this one is called Hyaluron Volumizing Lip Treatment. Okay, now this one is the same size as the revision product. So you get the same amount of product. I think this one is, let me see, this one actually is 0.31 fluid ounces, and I think the revision is 0.33. So they're just, this one is, I mean, like the tiniest bit less product in there, but this one is $15 and the revision product is over 30. It's somewhere, I think $36. So this is half the price for essentially the same amount of product. Now this one also uses shea butter, and then it uses a bunch of those same occlusive ingredients. It has a very, very similar thick texture. However, I will tell you that even though it's a thick texture, it's just slightly thinner to the point where I could actually wear this one during the day. Now I don't very often. I still slather this one on at night and go to bed. It's like a lip mask, and I find that it absolutely 100% leaves my lips feeling exactly the way the revision product does. And it is less than half the cost. It is so similar, and it has a lot of the same really great ingredients in it, and it feels really similar to that revision product, only it's less than half the cost. So this was another really fantastic alternative. The final affordable alternative is the most exciting, and that one is, you guys maybe have seen these CYSPERA, or you've seen the new one from Sente, which is their Cysteamine HSA. These are pigment inhibitors. So one is CYSPERA, and it's a cysteamine product, and it is meant to help with hyperpigmentation. So this one from Sente is also a cysteamine product. I'm going to explain that in just a second. This one also has their proprietary HSA, which is, it's a glycosaminoglycan that is already occurring in our cells, and it helps to bind water, and it helps with inflammation, and then it ultimately can help with our immune response and redness, etc. So the one from Sente that just came out recently, that one has cysteamine. Cysteamine is a pigment inhibitor. It works differently than all these other pigment inhibitors that we've talked about as far as suppressing melanin. But it also is different because of the way you use it. And this was what was most intriguing to me, is that you actually put these Cysteamine products on as like, not exactly a mask, but you put them on, you leave them on for 15 minutes, then you wash them away with a gentle cleanser and you go on with your routine. That was so incredibly appealing to me because it isn't like, where do I fit this into my routine? At what step? What do I do? It's pretty straightforward. What I do is every single morning when I wake up, you do an intensive 16-week program that I have just now started. And I wanted to wait because I had a laser treatment in the last few weeks, and I wanted to wait until I was completely clear from the laser so that I could take before and afters. I'm going to do the whole 16 weeks where every single morning I wake up and the first thing that I do is I put one of these on, and I will show you the affordable alternative. I put one of these on, I set a timer on my phone, I wait 15 minutes, I rinse it off, and I use my gentle cleanser. Right now I'm using my One Skin Prep, and then I go on with my skincare routine for the morning. To me, that is so easy to do. It's just so great because it doesn't change anything else. You can use this with all of your other actives. You don't have to then not do something. There's no contraindications. It doesn't cause any extra photosensitivity. So if this is the pigment inhibitor that you are using, you still need to wear your SPF. And of course, I mean, that's like integral to clearing pigment, is using an SPF. But you don't have to worry about extra sun sensitivity from using this. It does have a strong sulfur smell. I mean, they've tried to mitigate it with some fragrance, so it also has fragrance, but I don't care. It really doesn't bother me. You can also use this long term. You use it for those 16 weeks every single day for 15 minutes, and then you go into maintenance mode, and then you use it a couple times a week. Now, here's where it goes sideways, right? They're freaking expensive. I mean, the Sente, let me see, I'll put that up on the screen, you guys. It's $149 for 1.7 ounces. And the CYSPERA is $169 for 1.75 ounces. So that is pretty expensive. They come in this tube with a pump. They both literally look the same, you guys. Same packaging, same exact, right? So these two are both around $150 to $170 for 1.7 ounces. So, okay, there's those. Here's the affordable alternative. This is by a company called All Purpose. It's the All Purpose Creams. They have several different creams. The packaging is relatively rudimentary, right? Looks like this. This is essentially 5% Cysteamine. It is about $59 and it is a third the cost of the CYSPERA. And it's, you know, a little bit, it's this one's 150. So obviously it's a lot less, right? You can get this 2 times before you bought one of these. You can get this 3 times before you bought one of these. And again, the idea is you have to use this for 16 weeks in that intensive phase. And they say that after 6 weeks, you're gonna start to see some lightening of your hyperpigmentation. At 8 to 12 weeks, you're really gonna start noticing results, but you gotta get through that entire 16 weeks to see the optimal, like what's happening, and then you go into maintenance. So this one is absolutely much more affordable. Now this one comes out in more of a lotion than it does kind of, those are like gel creams, actually a lot like the Faded and the Touch. They have that very similar texture. This one is more like a thick cream. One single pump covers my whole face, and I go down into my neck because I get hyperpigmentation here. I did notice with this one a little tiny bit of a tingle, and I don't notice it with the other two, which is sort of interesting. This one, like the other two, has that same kind of sulfur scent to it. And yeah, and this one does, for those of you who concern yourself with parabens, this one does use parabens as its preservatives. The other two do not. So take note if that, I'm just presenting that information to you. So it's up to you to decide if that's a yay or nay for you, but it is, there are parabens in the all-purpose Cysteamine cream. Now, if you want a full video on Cysteamine creams, I am really happy to do that. I would love to do a breakdown, kind of a geek out science type of video on Cysteamine and talk a little bit more about hyperpigmentation, maybe pigment inhibitors in general. I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know in the comment section. Definitely say hi before you go, subscribe before you go, and I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.